Busy week for the Phillies. Friday, they get Austin Hayes. He's out in left field. And Saturday, they get Carlos Estevez. Where will he fit in? Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City will get his thoughts on that. And have they done enough, or do they still need more, Mike? They've lost 4 series in a row, 3-6 since the All-Star break. They have added a couple pieces, but do they need to do more by tomorrow at 6 o'clock in your estimation, or is this a finished product?
Another arm in the bullpen wouldn't help, and maybe you want to upgrade a spot on the bench. But overall, I agree with what Bryce Harper said in my story from yesterday's game on pressofac.com, that right now this team is good enough to win, and simply superstars got to show up. I mean, Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, Nola, Wheeler, Turner, the guys who are making a lot of money have got to start playing better. They're going to be the reason the Phillies win the World Series or get to the World Series, and they've got to start producing. So could this team need some improvements in a few spots? Yeah, I like what they've done so far, and then it's up to the guys you're giving $300 million over the lifetime of a contract to perform.
Yeah, obviously the big guns got to do their job. They get Hayes. He's going to play left field. It looks like they're going to do Marsh and Rojas in center field. But I guess I'll ask you the question, do you think Marsh and Hayes should be the platoon and Rojas plays center, or is it Rojas and Marsh that should be the platoon and Hayes plays left?
Well, looking at it now and talking to them and looking at Austin Hayes and his past history, I like what the Phillies are doing here. They're giving Austin Hayes an opportunity to play every day in left field. He was basically a platoon player for the Orioles, but you're talking about a guy who in the past was able to hit right-handed and left-handed pitching, a guy who was an American League All-Star last year starting in center field. So I like them giving him an opportunity, to play every day. And the simple truth of the matter is Johan Rojas' at-bats have not been competitive enough, and Brandon Marsh has struggled also against left-handed pitching. So if the Phillies don't give Austin Hayes a chance to play out there against left-handed pitching, they basically have 2, black holes in their lineup. So I like the platoon in center field. I like giving Austin Hayes a chance to play in left field. If he can hit like he hit last year, he's going to make the Phillies a better team.
All right. Obviously, Hayes, he's played left yesterday. And Marsh played center. He actually hit against a lefty yesterday, so that was interesting.
He actually got a base hit.
He got a base hit against a lefty, right. So that's that. They make the trade on Saturday for Carlos Estevez. Is he the guy that's going to close 9th innings, or is he just another arm that mixes and matches with the others?
Well, Rob Thompson said yesterday that he doesn't want to be pigeonholed or pushed into a corner and name Estevez the official closer. But, hey, Estevez is going to take down 9th innings for the foreseeable future. He's going to get an opportunity to come in here and close. I thought he was the best guy out there. He had retired, 53 of the last 58 hitters he's faced. He's, pitched very well last season, pitched very well this season. The reports out of the Angels clubhouse from guys who covered the team as well as teammates is that he's a great guy, has a mentality to come in here and close. Hey, it's going to be different for him, right? I mean, getting 3 outs out there in Disneyland for a team that, was out of contention on opening day is different than coming in here and getting 3 outs. It'll be interesting to see, what happens. He gets a chance to close the game against the Yankees over the next 3 days. But by all reports, he was the best guy out there, and he's going to be the guy in the 9th inning for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's the one thing, and I like your, comparison there. Is I brought up the thing, the Phillies went out and got David Robertson at the deadline a couple of years ago. He had been dominant with the Cubs. He came here and just couldn't get the job done. They brought Soto in from the Tigers. There's a difference in getting 3 outs in an empty ballpark than it is in October. So if he's not the closer, did they do enough in that bullpen?
I always like getting another arm out there. I like Hoffman. I like Strahm. Alvarado had shown signs that he was on a better path, and he gives up the home run yesterday. Quan really hit a tough pitch, an inside pitch after the game. Alvarado said, I don't even know how he made contact with that pitch. Nevertheless, pulled it into the right field stand. So I still have some faith in Alvarado. And then, you mentioned Soto. Soto's a guy who in the 5th or 6th inning, looks dynamite. You put him in the 8th or 9th inning and he struggles. So, if you have Estevez and then you have Hoffman, and you have Strahm, and Alvarado gets back on the right path, and then you can mix and max early with Kirkland and Soto. I think you've got enough in that bullpen to sort of get you through.
All right. You had Tyler Phillips throw a complete game shutout on Saturday, but you had to use Kobe Allard yesterday. So it looks like two pretty unproven guys, at least over the next 2 weeks here. Should the Phillies still be exploring the starting pitching market?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what they have or what they have to give up. By all accounts, they don't think the injury to Ranger Suarez is serious. I think this is actually a blessing in disguise for Ranger Suarez. I think a lot of his issues were due to the fact that he just has simply not thrown this many innings in his career. I think he has 155 or 156 career high for innings. He was at 114 at the All-Star break. So I think this rest will do him a world of good, and I'm interested to see what he looks like when he comes back. Sanchez, I thought, pitched well the other night in the loss against Cleveland. He was really let down by his defense. They picked two guys off first base and couldn't execute rundowns, and both guys ended up scoring. Wheeler and Miller. So I like the starting pitching, and that's why, Mike, I think, the Phillies are scuffling here. They're 20-20 since they came back from London. But if you look around the National League when you get to the postseason, I still like the Phillies an awful lot because of their starting pitching. So I think they've got enough starting pitching to get through. And I think this break that Ranger Suarez is getting here with the back injury gives him an opportunity to rest his arm. I think it's a blessing in disguise. And don't forget, Taijuan Walker's coming back at some point. And Phillips has pitched well. Colby Allred pitched okay yesterday. Really one bad pitch. I thought he deserved better. Trey Turner could have made that play at shortstop, maybe gotten him an out. Then it's a 3-2 game when he gives up the home run. So I think they've got enough starting pitching.
Haven't we talked a lot about?
Hey, it's the biggest. There are two disappointments to me on the Philadelphia Phillies, big-time disappointments. One is Bryson Stott and how he has stepped backwards, sort of regressed as a hitter this season. That's a big disappointment. And two, it's Trey Turner's defense. Look, it's horrendous. Every time a ball is hit to shortstop, you're kind of holding your breath. And when he fields it, you're holding your breath again because his throws to first base are less than accurate sometimes. So, and Mike, he's going to cost the Phillies a game. I mean, he's going to cost them a playoff game if he doesn't pick it up defensively. So, yeah, it's an issue. Bryson Stott's lack of hitting and sort of regression at second base at the plate has been an issue, and Trey Turner's defense is a problem.
I'll tell you what, one of the conversations we were having yesterday was how likely is it that Trey Turner finishes his Phillies career as the shortstop?
Well, he's not finishing his Phillies career as a shortstop. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. It'll be interesting to see where he switches. I mean, he has played second base before, so, he can shift over there. It's also interesting to see, maybe he shifts to the center field or something. Robin Yount did it in his career, went from shortstop out to center field. Trey Turner has that type of athletic ability, but boy, they're not going to make a change now during the season. They're going to live with Trey Turner at shortstop, and whatever happens there happens. But going forward, starting next season, boy, he's not going to fit career playing shortstop for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Last thing for Mike McGarry on the Phillies front. A lot of people talking about the Phillies gave up a lot to get a rental player. What say you?
I say those people are absolutely crazy. Look, these prospects, most of these prospects do not pan out. I can go back to my days growing up, New York Mets, Generation K, Isringhausen, Pulsifer, and Paul Wilson was supposed to dominate the Mets starting rotation for the next 10 years. None of them made it. David West, former Phillies guy, played with the Mets. He was supposed to be the next Tom Seaver, didn't make it. Here, Griff McGarry and Mick Abel, they were untouchables. They were going to be the foundation of the rotation the next couple of years. Both guys have stalled and gone backwards. Give me a major league player for a rotation guy any day of the week and twice on Sunday. The Klassen guy, he had a breakout season this year, but he's 22 years old. He's in single A ball. He's at least 2 years from getting to the majors. He's a two-pitch guy. That means to me he's a bullpen guy. Maybe if you got a chance to go out and win, this franchise has only won 2 World Series in its entire history, and it's been around since the 1800s. They got a chance to win the World Series this year. You trade whoever you need to do to make your major league roster the best it can be, so you have a chance to win the World Series. Prospects, to me, Mike, that's the internet. That's one of the bad things the internet has done. When we grew up in the 70s, not going to say get off my lawn, but we had no idea who was playing for our AAA teams, all right? And now people are saying, oh, my God, we can't give up this guy. We can't give up this guy. He's in single A. You give up a single A guy for a quality major leaguer every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yep, well, keep in mind, too, the Phillies have Wheeler, Nola, and Sanchez all signed. They have Painter, who they hope is ready to go by next year. That's really 4 spots in your rotation locked up. So when you have the depth in your organization, you can part with guys like that and not think about it as much. I would say Estevez, if he walks after the season here and those 2 guys flourish, well, we'll probably be having conversations about that down the road. But I think you're right in this instance. You got to try to go get it now, and that's why you want. Does Dave Dombrowski have another move by 6 o'clock tomorrow?
We'll see. I mean, Dave Dombrowski's MO is he is aggressive. And again, you can never have too many guys in the bullpen. So another bullpen arm and maybe another guy to upgrade that bench spot would be welcome too. So, yeah, it would be interesting to see what Dombrowski does. But again, as presently constituted, I agree with Bryce Harper and one of the great quotes of the season. This team is good enough to win. Superstars got to show up.
All right, Mike, let's shift over real quick to the number 3 team in the wild card race. Are the Mets here to stay?
Well, I think they're going to hang in the race, right? I mean, they probably are not as good as they played the past 3 weeks. They're probably not as bad as they were in April and May. I think there's 4 teams in there, right? There's the Braves, the Padres, Arizona, who's absolutely flying, although they lost yesterday, and the Mets. I think those are your 4 teams for the 3 wild card spots, and I would expect the Mets to sort of hang in there and stay in contention for one of those spots. I think 3 of those teams make it. I think 1 doesn't.
All right, there we go. We got the Mets hanging in there, although Senga, he comes back, gets hurt again, so we'll see how that affects them. They've lost 2 in a row. The Braves have won 2 in a row. They played this weekend. You got the Giants winning 4 straight. The deadline tomorrow. Arizona's been the best team in baseball over about the last 30 games. They're back in this thing. Should be a wild run. By the way, Pittsburgh, they're now buyers all of a sudden. If the Pirates are buying, woo, we got a weird world out there, people. And that's what's happening between now and tomorrow at the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, pressofac.com here on the Sports Bash. Thanks, Mike.
All right, Mike, we'll see you down the road. Thank you.
All right, Mike's back Wednesday. And after Wednesday, the Phillies trades and everything will have been made. Remember, the trade deadline is 6 o'clock on Tuesday night. I'm Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.